Good morning, everybody. I'm David. I'm a target individual, and this is Guy. He's been targeted 40 years, and wow. Good morning, everybody. I'm trying this again, so if it's conjuncted in and I didn't say good morning, I'm sorry. But this is Guy. He's been targeted 40 years, and he's coming to tell a story, and I'm going to do what I did yesterday and read a thing out of this devotion real quick, and then we'll start with Guy's interview. Um, Last week, I told my psychiatrist I kept thinking about suicide. He told me from now on I have to pay in advance. Rodney Dangerfield said that. When we are isolated and kept from others, we feel contained like we have a disease. We are kept in line as a ploy to limit our power. Obviously, someone with authority was extremely threatened by us, nervous about our talents or potential to have ordered a nationwide army to take us apart. If we wasn't referring to our own life, the topic of gang stalking's every bit as humorous as comedian Rodney Dangerfield's catchphrase, I don't get no respect, but it's all about our life. But it is about our life and it isn't funny. Feeling free is a tall order for someone who's surveyed 24/7. On the other hand, there's no job too big for God since he's not limited by our circumstances. We basically need for him to breathe in our direction. His favor is upon us and can change everything in a second. We do not want to remain stuck by our own limited negative thinking. Our road is not easy, but we are an important part of a big picture. We must have a strong relationship with God, trusting him to get us through everything. When they're waiting outside for us, when we realize our sibling is one of them, or on our next shopping spree. If we want to be successful, we must know God's word and let him breathe on us. I decree and declare the people who try to keep me down cannot have me, for I will not stay where I am right now. And that's it.
All right.
And I guess the first question I got for you guys, when did you figure out you were targeted? Or hold on, what was your life like before targeting, and what is it like now? Was you
Well,
happy-go-lucky? Did you have a good life before targeting?
yeah, it was all right. But this happened right after the military with me. I went in the Navy and, I got out in 75. And, I got in with the wrong crowd and I did have some problems, drug problems at that time. But, I have changed my life around where, I have nothing to do with the drug addicts. Or I mean, I do transport a lot of the ex addicts in my medical delivery job now, but other than that, I have nothing to do with drugs or alcohol. But at that time, there was a few problems, but that was like 40 some years ago.
Right.
Uh,
And so you had a good life outside the Navy. And my grandpa was a Navy man. Actually, he was in
oh,
World War II and the Korean War, on a
oh.
Navy battleship, second to command.
You
Uh,
know, things were not so bad. I didn't go through such a rude behavior, growing up in high school and all, and just had a normal type of life. But right after the military is when this kind of stuff kind of started.
what started for you? Where did your start?
Well, I would say in Las Vegas, Nevada, that's where this started, and that's where my stalkers or handlers, I guess you'd call them, moved into the house behind mine when I was married with my ex-wife. Um, they had moved in there, and I don't know why they did that. They just and the guy, the main perpetrator or handler, he'd be shouting out the window, and to this day, I still hear his voice in the air. That this is a big secret. For 20 years with me, I'd experience a rude behavior campaign. I'd be walking down the street and someone would yell out something, or just rude behavior, and I couldn't figure out what's going on there. And then right when I was about retiring from the postal service, which I had worked for 27 years, I started hearing the voice in the air next to me. So I kind of figured out, well, that ex neighbor, he's um, that's his voice. And before that, I had filed 5 charges with the police, stating that I'm being harassed by this ex neighbor. Can someone investigate this? Which they never did, and they never got back with me. All that happened at the time was after 5 charges with the police in Las Vegas, they my employer called me to work, and they said, well. We want you to see a psychiatrist for psychiatry evaluation, take some time off. And, I almost lost my job, just for filing police charges, trying to, get someone to investigate and see what's going on there. And, but they never did get back to me as to what's going on. And it kind of made it look like, oh, it's all delusional and, see a psychiatrist, this kind of thing. So unfortunately, with myself and others, that's how they treat this. They just kind of see it as delusional. They don't really do much when I've called the FBI before. And they said, well, just take notes. I mean, the way I see it is these neighbors that moved in behind me, this Jewish family, um, they they get paid, they get a government check, and this is their way of making a living. It's like InfraGard private contractors. I've seen them have groups of people on the weekends. They have flags in their house and car. And so this is why my story is a little different, because I know who's doing it to me. I know these ex neighbors who are paid to do this to me my whole 40 years or more. And I filed charges. I did what I can do. The targeted people like myself, they just don't have any place to really uh, go to. Attorneys. I've checked with attorneys, and most of them won't have anything to do with it. So it's a very difficult situation where people are just kind of left on their own to try to solve this thing, and very difficult.
Yeah, you said that you retired from the post office. Were you aware that a lot of postal workers were involved in this? I know in my case they are. You see
Um,
postal trucks driving around on Sundays stalking people and stuff.
Well,
Uh,
with me, it was more like cliques of groups of people. They just, oh, there's mentally insane. He's walking down the hallway, and they're just trying to harass you enough to get you to quit, and maybe hopefully they can get some of their friends into the. The more people they get to quit, the more openings for jobs for them. And out here in Arizona, it's totally different. There's so many jobs out here that it's not the only job in town. Let's put it that way.
right. Well, there's been a question I've been wanting to ask the postal worker ever since I've been harassed. Like I used to get stalked in Pensacola by this mail truck, this U.S. mail truck on Sundays everywhere I went. So how does the mail truck get out on Sundays? Are they?
Yeah, that must be like a special deal. Like I say, I worked in the mail processing plant in Las
Oh,
Vegas.
okay, okay.
It just
Yeah, these mail trucks are out on Sundays riding around,
that's
harassing people. And
yeah,
I've seen this in more than one state.
yeah, very unusual. I don't know on the carrier position, why they would be working Sunday. It'd be like a
Exactly.
special. It's very strange.
Especially in a US mail vehicle.
Yeah, yeah, it does seem very strange why they'd have someone working Sunday.
Right.
Now, Amazon would be a different deal, but post office,
Yeah.
not too much.
So have you ever experienced a direct energy weapon tax?
Well, that's with me. This is strictly a verbal campaign of terror.
V2K?
V2K, I call it voice of God, remote neural monitoring, synthetic
Yeah.
telepathy, this kind of thing. I don't really have any pain issues, fortunately, but no, I don't have pain issues.
Right. Well, could you kind of explain the depth of your V2K and remote neural monitoring, kind of give some examples?
Well, like I say, when I used to work for the post office, I'd walk down the hallway there and people would shout out mentally insane, or just they did just different type of taunting behavior to get me upset. And it seems like this is their tactics to get you upset, to get you to maybe shove someone, or this kind of, I did have a problem with someone in my trailer park now here, and this is what they do. They get people to yell at you, or to terrorize you basically. But and so this is what they do. They security people. They Now let me tell you. See, I've seen like a blue dot through my eyes, and I believe it's like what they call what this is called brain entrainment, from what I've been hearing. Brain entrainment, and then a photon type of light where it's barely visible for a fraction of a second. And they just aim it at you, and wherever you go, they follow you with this photon light. And that's how I see that they're doing this. It's kind of like a radio wave photon light type of thing. I'm not familiar with the, exactly how it's done, but that's what I have noticed. Was so if I look at the floor and I'll see a blue dot, and so I think it must be some sort of blue beam that's following me. So that's just what I have summarized it is going on there. And then they're able to, it's like like this morning was very strange. I heard like the radio playing, but I don't have any radios or TV on. So I'd have to say it's sort of like a radio wave as well. It sounded like the radio station was on.
Right. Yeah. And they do that to try to drive you crazy, and they want to drive you to suicide or drive you to hurting somebody or,
Right,
you know,
right.
yeah. I deal with V2K 24/7. Matter of fact, they're saying this interview is no good right now. I just need to give up and all this. That's what they
And
do. They try to put doubt in me. They say I'm worthless. They're constantly interjecting in my ear, either laughing, and I'll hear like five different voices laughing, or they got my wife's voice cloned to where she'll say I'm going to be kidnapped and murdered. All kinds of crazy stuff goes
oh
on in my
Lord.
head. But I listen to hand pan music, and I meant to put it in the description of that video yesterday. It's hand pan music, and if you have severe tinnitus or V2K, it really, really helps us. We listen to it every night. So I'm going to
Hand
put that link
pan.
in the description.
Yeah, hand pan. That
Matter
is.
of fact, watch this. I can just do this. Share the screen. Okay, go right here. I'll go to YouTube right here. Go right here. And that's the guy right here. I don't think they got my computer hacked where if I try to play it, you won't be able to hear it.
Okay, well, it's called
But this is
hand pan.
the best one right here. It's called Surrendering to the Flow, Change of Colors. Malte Martin is his name, and I'll go right back up for anybody who wants to see who he is. But the
Hand
one with the
pan.
girl on the left right here in the hat right here, awesome. I mean, I like them all, but really the one you see his hand right here, Malte Martin, at Malte Martin, Marten.
All right.
Very good music. And what it does is it makes your brain focus on the music instead of the V2K or the tinnitus. And the tinnitus clears up a lot. My girlfriend had really bad tinnitus a couple weeks ago where she was hearing the ocean and all kinds of crazy stuff. She started listening to this, and a shout out to Lorraine from Alternative Homesteading. She's the one that told us about this.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
I've
know if
heard
you
about
watch
that
her.
gal. I've seen her interview with that gal. Yeah, she said,
Yeah.
from what I understand, she used to live in New Jersey somewhere, and ended up going to Kentucky where homesteading because she just got kind of stalked out of her house.
Yep. Yeah, she's terribly targeted, that's for sure. And strong woman though, because she manages on her own and stuff like that, and going through all this, and it looks like you're on your own too.
Yeah,
Any
I've been fortunate. Like I say, after I retired, they had early retirement in '09 from the Postal Service. I just got out of there. I just said enough of this harassment, and I've been out here delivering parcels, and now a medical delivery driver, and I'm able to hold a job, but it's not as bad as medical delivery job I've got. I'm very fortunate, not all targeted people are fortunate enough to hold a job, but with me, I've been very fortunate.
Right. And have you ever had somebody come up to you when people were calling you crazy and say, "Look, man, I don't think you're crazy. I experience this stuff too."
Never had too many people,
Oh,
but
okay.
most of the people seem to cooperate with the stalkers. But
Exactly.
fortunately, I live in a senior area, and most of kind of people just kind of stay to themselves and don't act too crazy.
Right. Well, back in your day, though, I bet you've seen a lot of stuff over the years, though, hadn't you, with your
Oh yeah,
targeting?
yeah. I've been attacked, and I did get into it with somebody in this trailer court, but we try to get along now. You know, police said just, stay away from each other and, you know, this stuff does cause run-ins. They try to get people to attack your, listen, spread the rumor campaign and, so I've learned to just ignore a lot of it and just carry on and, meet my objective or goals with working and all. And so far, I did all right. I've got a couple pensions coming in, and that was my objectives. But people will act rude and yell and act nuts, and that kind of behavior I can do without.
Right. So you experience more of the Stasi old school type stalking and stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. This is where I believe it comes
The
from.
Zerzet song stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Zersetzum just I think at that time in Germany, the Zersetzum, they was trying to get all the foreigners out of there, and that's why they were come up with the Stasi idea to get the foreigners out. But it has somehow carried over to the America here, and we're end up doing the same thing and more. And ironic as this is, I have Jewish people stalking me, so it's not really. I don't want to blame well, I wouldn't say I will blame this originating from the Stasi, but Jewish people have suffered a lot, and why these people are doing this, I guess, just because that's the only thing they can do in life. I don't know.
Right. And then you got I don't know uh what's going on, but I don't know if you know what's going on in Aurora, Colorado right now.
Oh, the gangs. I've heard that there's
Yeah. So it seemed like America, I'm not saying this, but that's what it seemed like. It seemed like it's funded by them. I don't know. I just know my grandpa would be rolling over in his grave because, he fought for this country in two different wars, and to see the country go down like it is,
yeah, my dad
he'd
was
be
World
rolling
War
over
II
in his grave,
veteran as well.
But I think they participate in it too sometimes, the foreigners that come over here. But it's not all of them. Uh,
It's a
but
cult.
I just it's just crazy how, because I guess we're different people. TIs are different people altogether. Because if you approached us and tried to have us do something to somebody, we're the type of people that would be like, no, you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I think a lot of this rude behavior is just to try to weed you out of the job, and that's what happened to my parcel delivery. I just got tired of the customers and rude behavior, and as soon as I found an opening with this medical delivery, I kind of moved over to the next job. But that's what they seem to want to do, is weed you out of the workplace mobbing, as they call it, and it can affect your marriage. It can affect quite a few things, and unfortunately, that seems to be this objective, like you're saying earlier, to just drive the person to either to suicide or a mental institute more than likely. And that's what seems to be their objective. And I still, to this day, can't figure out why the government would pay someone to do this. It just,
Right.
it makes no
Mm.
sense. And they do, I did notice a check in their banking account, $1,000 15 years ago, every 2 weeks. So they are getting paid a government check to do this. So, um, I'm at a loss. That's why I say there must be some sort of InfraGard private contractors doing this because they're paid to do this, which makes no sense. Why our government would pay such people to do such a thing?
Well, how did you run across that? The $1,000 every 2 week thing. How did you find that out?
Well, I used to be a landlord. I had several rental properties, and I said, "Well, let me just fill out a rental application for these people and find out where their money's coming from."
Right.
And sure enough, I seen in the bank account says, "Oh, there's $1,000 here, $1,000 there." And that's the
Wow.
only thing that I kind of noticed. So it's not gift
Yeah.
cards.
And
They have paid.
I noticed my wife, when you're married, you notice where money's coming from. I was wondering how she's getting all this money all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? We'd
Yeah.
be, we're supposed to be broken. She'd be like, "Oh, babe, there was an error at the bank. I got $1,800 today." What? $1,800? Stuff like that. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that's very unusual. Well, if it's a
Yeah.
buddy,
So anyway, stuff like that just kept happening, and we just kept coming up with money out of the blue. And I just knew that I was targeted then. And it was hard to get out of that. And I'm glad I did get out of that because it was leading to nothing but setup after setup after setup, gaslighting, um, yelling, they're coming to get you. If I barricade the door, because I got to where I'd barricade the door because when I come home from work every day, uh, the door would be wide open. She wouldn't be worried about the door wide open. I would be, That's weird.
uh,
Why wouldn't you be worried about your door wide open? It's your house too, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
every day we come home to the trailer and the trailer door is wide open.
yeah,
That
it's
happened for like a
unusual.
month straight every day. And I would lock up very good, you know what I'm saying? Good locks, all that. I bought good locks and everything. And they would always leave the door wide open to let us know they had been there.
Yeah, it's very
I had a couple
strange.
items come up missing, and she swore to God she didn't know what happened. And 2 weeks later, it'd be in the same spot, and she'd be like, "Well, maybe we just didn't look there," stuff like that. But it was a
So strange.
telltale giveaway. If you're with a partner and you're a target, and your partner's not worried about certain stuff that you're telling them's going on, or if your door's wide open and you get home and she's not worried about it or he's not worried about it, and you're the only one worried, then that's a big red flag. you
Yeah, it
know.
does sound very unusual. Yeah, I still have this girlfriend, and she was a methamphetamine addict, and she would leave the doors unlocked and stuff. And I told her about her. I said, "You're not gonna live here if you keep doing that," you know. So
No,
some,
this door would be wide open when I came home.
yeah, that's even
Yeah,
stranger.
not unlocked. It would be open all the way to the back,
Yeah, that's
right up
very
against the
strange.
trailer.
Yeah, that's very strange. David, let me shut my alarm off just 2 seconds here, and I'll be.
Okay. But yeah, that used to trip me out. Till he gets back, I'll talk just different instances and what he said about the job, trying to get jobs and weed you out of jobs. I think that's true too, because the chicken plant I worked for, that's when my targeting started the worst is after I worked there. I was just telling the audience while you were gone, that's a good point you made about the jobs. I don't think it's all about getting people's jobs. However, I do think that's one aspect of it too, because these supervisors where I worked made me do the hardest job, let their partners do jobs that wasn't hard. And OSHA, you're not popping bones is when you take the thigh bone and you go doom, doom, and you pop them out at this chicken plant. Well, you're only supposed to do that one round because OSHA tells you you're going to get carpal tunnel if you do it 3 rounds. They're not supposed to do that. Well, they made me do it all 3 rounds. And then I got carpal tunnel and all that. And anyway,
Oh,
I started getting workplace bullied and all that, and ended up getting fired. And they said, well, come over here and talk to HR and talk to us. I said, I'm not going nowhere without my union rep. They said, you're fired. So I got fired, but I still won my unemployment hearing. You know what I'm saying?
well,
So
that's
once I
good.
won my unemployment hearing after getting fired, this lawyer called me and said, David, you got a good case. Come here. We'll do the paperwork. I'll take it pro bono, 35%. So I went, and after I filed that, that's when my targeting got turned up so bad I couldn't keep a job. I couldn't keep in touch with my lawyer. I ended up homeless. It really turned stuff up on me so I would lose that lawsuit
Geez, I'm sorry to
or
hear
wouldn't
that. It
pursue
seems
it.
like once you get in a big lawsuit or something with the company, fortunately, I didn't. I just retired early, and there was no big problem. But that could have been the reason why you're targeted, like you say.
And I really believe that is because that's when my targeting started getting very, very bad. So back to your targeting, have you ever had any honeypots come along and try to string you along? And
Well, mostly some of the gals I have met mostly just kind of play along with the stalking, but I haven't had too many like you say honeypots. I just
do you know who
uh,
your handler is or
well,
was?
all I say is there's still these ex neighbors, these Jewish people that are doing this kind of stuff, and they have not changed their occupation for 40 years. I hear some of their kids' voice now. Instead of hearing them, I hear their kids' voice in the air also. And I have heard some AI stalking as well. With the one day I was sleeping, and the next thing I hear in my ear, the killer, killer, killer. And I said, what in the heck is that about? You know, so they sometimes use a little AI, but mostly it's their voice watching you. And if you're around someone violent, or they try to get someone malleable to say something, and you know, it's kind of strange. But as I got older, I just don't pay too much attention to a lot of this stuff. When I got younger, it kind of rattled me a little bit.
Yeah, Duncan talks about it's chatterboxes. On these chatterboxes can clone people's voices and everything, and there's even been speculation that AI is running V2K. It's not no operator sitting back speaking into different people's ears.
Well,
AI running the chatterbox and what you hear and stuff. Now, I
well,
don't know if that's true or not, but I really think that's more plausible than a bunch of different operators sitting in the back just
well, they
saying
are
stuff.
government paid. These humans, ex neighbors, they are paid to do this. Like I say, they sometimes may use the AI, but they are the ones 90% of the time talking and speaking, and watching you with their beam weapon, and they're the ones doing this. It's the AI. I'm going to say they may use that a few times, but predominantly there's just them watching you and trying to get you in a big fight or a big confrontation to where they can end up in a mental institute, is the way I see it, but it's primarily them doing it.
Right. So is there any advice you'd want to give to any targeted individuals watching this right now who might newly be targeted or really be going through it right now? What advice would you give to them?
Well,
You've been
I,
dealing with this 40 years, so
yeah, I'd say the best thing to do is try to ignore it. Most people are trying to just listening to the stalkers, and they're trying to rattle you and get you all upset, maybe in a fight or something. And if you just handle things more in a calm way, is probably a better way to do things. And when you're younger, it's very tough to handle things calm, especially if someone attacks you. You gotta say, hey, what's going on there? And but that's what I would say. That, and just kind of be distracted with listening to music or talk shows, and life carries on. Unfortunately, at this time, there's no place to press a charge to get this stuff to stop. But yeah, that's about best advice I could say, is just try to handle things in a calm way, or you're going to end up in a mental institute. Because when the police get there after your big confrontation, they're not going to say what he did, and you're going to only say what he did. Well, he shoved me, and so he needs to go to prison. So you see that they're not going to say, well, you verbally attacked me and you verbally provoked me, and see, they all say, well, this is what you did, but they're not to say what he did. See, they leave that part out. So yeah, I'd be very, very careful getting in confrontations and stuff, because sometimes it doesn't go the way of the person that's stalked.
right. And that's what they want to do, push you to suicide, push you to hurt somebody, or whatever you do, don't hurt nobody, don't commit suicide, just try your best to
Right.
get through each day. Um, is there anything else you wanted to tell about your story? I know
Well,
you,
the only other thing I might say is, years ago they used to say, "Oh, this is all delusional. It's all in his head," but it's really not all in my head. It's a voice in the air. I hear him whispering in the air, and that voice can be shouting loud, or that voice can be, most of the time, is just whispering quiet. And this is why people are acting rude behavior, because people are being third partied wherever they go. He's a pedophile, homosexual, bigot, or whatever they're going to say. They want people mad at you, because that's what they do. They third party you to get people mad at you.
right.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Trying to think of anything I can add to it. Uh, they're trying to put me to sleep right now with a frequency. So uh-oh, it's the kitty. Say hi, kitty. That's the tortoise, the torty cat. So anyway, yeah, they're trying to put me to sleep as we speak. I don't know if they ever done that to you. They're making me really drowsy. Um, but yeah, so as far as targeting, man, I really appreciate you coming out. I'm going to read one more thing before we go to make it a little more longer interview. So it says, we want to know how impossible how the impossible will be made possible. We tend to disbelieve the equation when we do not have the formula. Nevertheless, we cannot afford to hold back from the will of God through our own ignorance and pride. The issues we face today are not going to go away anytime soon. We may refuse to commit suicide, but we can go further than that. We can learn new ways of coping. We can click into God's will for us and exist with a higher level of purpose. God will make a way for us, even as we are forced through the dung. We begin to realize all things work together for the good for those called according to his purpose. There's much uncertainty these days, and God knows exactly what we are going through. We may not have the recipe, but we know who does. Destruction has come to a perpetual end, and the memorials of my enemies perish with them. Psalms 9:6. And I want to say something real quick about that verse. All things work together for the good for those called according to according to his purpose. I followed God for like 2 years, like to the T. And I used to get mad when I still was stalked no matter what, and still had my name ran to the ground. And I used to get upset at that verse because I'm like, well, that verse is, and I got mad at God over this because I'm like, well, this verse should apply to me. The Bible, all things work together for the good. Um, and I got to thinking, I'm like, man, it's not working together for the good. But what I learned about that verse is, in the end, all things will work together for the good. We may not see it in this lifetime, but in the next lifetime or whatever, retribution will be paid to whoever done us wrong and stuff. And I had to really, really, really struggle to see the meaning of that verse because I was taking it way out of context. But anyway, Guy, God bless you. Just you have my number, so hit me up if you ever need to talk or something, or ever want to chat, or you going through anything, just hit me up and let me know. And maybe I can call and or you can
Yeah,
call
well,
me and I can help you out.
if we do find a way to end this, I mean, like I say, I know they got that Anna Toledo with Targeted Justice, and she's doing what she can do, and yeah, there's a little hope left, but a lot of the groups on the forums kind of disappeared. But yeah, if I do appreciate that, reaching out like that, and yeah, I just, like you say, have the faith in God. Things will get better, and that's how I see it.
All right. Well, thanks, Guy. I'm gonna end this, and then we can say